Hi guys, this is Gerry. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about the Anunnaki. We're going to be talking about the big reset, and honestly guys, this is a crash course. So all of the things that are happening, all of the craziness, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to be breaking it down. So I hope you guys stick around to watch the full video, enlightening yourselves and trying to connect the dots with me as I go through different things that are indicating that are big signs that yes, things are going to be happening to humanity. We are going to start to see things, and maybe by the end of the video you might think, oh, I'm just a crazy lady, whatever. Or if you're open-minded, and I believe everybody that's watching this, everybody that's connecting to this energy is open-minded and is on a higher consciousness, is on a higher rank. So let's get into it. First thing that I want to mention is the Schumann resonance and the Hurricane Erin and all the floods, all the earthquakes. So the average person maybe has some sort of awareness, just a tiny little bit, that there's a lot of natural disasters going on. There's a lot of flooding that's happening that usually does not happen. Okay, so in Texas, there was flooding, a year's worth of rain in Texas randomly in the most hottest state, one of the most hottest states in the Southwest. And there's been flooding in places that haven't been seeing flooding for a long time. There's earthquakes that are happening in places that haven't seen earthquakes in a very long time. And I just saw recently the meteor over Japan, which caused a fireball, and it caused the nighttime to look like daytime. All of this crazy stuff that we're seeing, and people are not noticing, not connecting the dots. They're not seeing, oh, there could be a catastrophe where I live. If you live by water, if you live in places that have this seismic activity, that have mountains, that have volcanoes that could crash into the landmass, that could cause great destruction, then this is your call, this is your warning to prepare yourself. And if that means that you need to leave the place that you're living because in your heart you can feel, okay, maybe I need to leave where I'm living, then you should, because the authorities, the very people that give us the weather, that are giving us the weather according to a national level, according to a galactic level, they are now saying that they cannot predict the weather. They are not going to give you a quick warning. They're not going to give you any warning because they have said it themselves. They cannot predict the weather anymore. And just watching Stephen Burns, I also can see that some of the satellites have been shutting down, and so some weather reports haven't been going up. So this is your message. This is your last call. If you're noticing what's going on with the floods, the earthquakes, the flooding, then It's your call to ask yourself, what should I be doing? Okay, so let's take a look at some news that I have been noticing that's been on my radar, and this is probably old news by now, but several power poles down in central Las Vegas Valley are down.
We begin right now at 4 with breaking news. Thunderstorms bringing strong winds in the valley. You're hearing it outside your home or apartment. More than 24,000 NV Energy customers without power. Numbers are climbing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Loftus.
And I'm Vanessa Murphy. These winds knocking down multiple power lines, causing major delays near Eastern and Sahara. That's where 8 News Now reporter Nick Summer is right now. Nick, what's it looking like out there?
Yeah, from what I can tell, there's about 3 downed power lines here on South Atlantic and Sahara. The high winds knocking them down. We even had the traffic camera is dangling next to the power line. We had NV Energy here briefly assessing the damage. And traffic is flowing, but it's important to note that a lot of the lights at these intersections where the power lines are down, the lights are out, so please drive with caution. People are still driving normally, but drive slow. Like I said, the lights are out, so just be careful. And the best thing to do when power lines are down, assume they are energized and still dangerous. Stay at least 30 feet away from the down lines and anything it may be touching, such as trees or fences. Again, we don't know too much details about what the next steps are, but as we receive updates, of course, we'll give you that information as we receive it. Reporting live from South Atlantic and Sahara, Nick Summer, 8 News Now.
Nick, thank you. Here's a live look outside with our Red Rock Tower camera. Look at those clouds. In the last few minutes, we all just received a dust storm warning alert on our phones.
All right, guys, if you notice in that video that the power lines are from the very bottom of the power line, it went down. And even in the comments, if you scroll down, people are saying, bro, the wind did not do this to one side of the street. Local news is a complete waste of life. And then no accident, something's up, stay safe. No tree damage? This looks very suspicious. So they had record-breaking winds in Vegas, winds so fast and strong that they didn't just break the wooden lines, but the metal ones as well. And nobody is talking about this. Alright, guys, so my connection with this is not a human doing. This is not human doing. This is not the wind doing this. And several power lines have went down because of very strong winds. You can speculate what you thought was up in the air because we're going to talk about this in this video, but that is just like one of the suspicious things that have been happening. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was the giant iceberg collapse, and I'm going to share this quick video with you guys, the giant iceberg collapsing, because Donald Trump has been insinuating, talking about this, saying that there could be a lot of ice breaking, there could be a lot of weather modifications, there could be a very big chill that happens over the earth. So let's play the video.
See you later. Oh my God, look at this.
Oh, Jesus.
Get away from the wave. Amazing day. It's turning around now.
So I think one area of mutual agreement and priority is vegetation management. But I think we want to work with you to really recognize the changing climate and what it means to our forests and actually work together with that science. That science is going to be key, because if we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay. It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Well, I don't think science knows, actually.
Okay, first thing that I want to mention is the Schumann resonance and the Hurricane Erin and all the floods, all the earthquakes. So the average person maybe has some sort of awareness, just a tiny little bit, that there's a lot of natural disasters going on. There's a lot of flooding that's happening that usually does not happen. Okay, so in Texas, there was flooding, a year's worth of rain in Texas randomly in the most hottest state, one of the most hottest states in the Southwest. And there's been flooding in places that haven't been seeing flooding for a long time. There's earthquakes that are happening in places that haven't seen earthquakes in a very long time. And I just saw recently the meteor over Japan, which caused a fireball and it caused the nighttime to look like daytime. All of this crazy stuff that we're seeing, and people are not noticing, not connecting the dots. They're not seeing, oh, there could be a catastrophe where I live. What I wanted to talk about was the giant iceberg collapse, and I'm going to share this quick video with you guys, the giant iceberg collapsing, because Donald Trump has been insinuating, talking about this, saying that there could be a lot of ice breaking, there could be a lot of weather modifications, there could be a very big chill that happens over the earth. All right. The next thing that I wanted to mention, I'm not going to play all the videos, even though they're short videos, but I will link it down in the description. Is one news article or 3 news articles that I saw that mention the wildlife, that mention nature. Is the first one is a jaguar spotted by the U of A cameras. And guys, this is where I'm from. I'm from Arizona, and there's no jaguars. If you guys are living there, you know that jaguars are from South America.
A really cool site right here in our state. The University of Arizona Wildcat Research and Conservation Center just observed a jaguar on their trail cameras. Now, this is the 4th one that the program has found in the state, seen on camera. And today, the research center told Fox 10, this is the result of 15 years of scientific monitoring and the hard work of 45 volunteer scientists. The volunteers go through extensive training with the university, and they make long hikes into the wilderness to find a great spot for these cameras. And the goal of the project is to provide land managers and federal agencies with data needed to make informed decisions about wildlife conservation.
Why is the wildlife migrating? Why is wildlife popping up? Why are animal species popping up where they haven't existed for millions or thousands of years? And the wildlife, the nature is showing us that everything is going back into place. Everything is being restored in the Aquarian age. And jaguars that used to be in North America are going back to where they came from. And all of the animals that were killed in North America specifically, they're slowly going to be showing up. They're going to be popping out of nowhere, because that is where Mother Earth is telling us that there is a restoration happening. And the next one, why are buffalo returning to Texas after 136 years? Okay, guys, we all know from history class that they killed the buffalo because they knew that they could kill the natives. And all of a sudden, there is an uprise in their population. So, again, that is another indication that Mother Earth is restoring, that nature is going back into balance. And last thing was the dinosaur footprints from 115 million years ago. So the dinosaur footprints, again, let us know that a lot of things are being unveiled. A lot of things are going to be shown to us, and those of us that are not ready for the true history, that are not ready for the history of humankind, are going to be like, what the heck? Are you telling me that dinosaurs and humans were walking together on the earth? That dinosaurs weren't the first species? Yes, that is exactly true. Okay, so the next video, really quick video I want to show you guys is called the... Where is it at? I don't think I got it. Or is it in the front? Okay, the next video I want to show you guys is the Buga spear. The Buga spear that was, or the Buga ball that was floating over Colombia. So let's go ahead and watch it.
March 2025, a small town in Colombia became the focus of a global mystery. A metallic sphere fell from the sky, defying the laws of physics, baffling scientists, and igniting a viral sensation. Is this evidence of alien life, a secret experiment, or the greatest hoax of the century? Locals in Buga watched in awe as this 1.2-meter orb zigzagged erratically before crashing near power lines. Its surface? Ice cold to the touch, vaporizing water on contact. No welds, no seams, just a flawless metallic shell etched with cryptic symbols. X-rays revealed a labyrinth inside, 3 layers including 16 microspheres arranged like a celestial map, and a dense core dubbed Ship 12. Scientists were stunned. The alloy, 95% aluminium, yet harder than aerospace-grade metal. But when scanned, it interfered with 3D imaging, as if hiding secrets. Ufologist Jaime Maussan called it non-human tech, pointing to symbols resembling ancient runes and circuits. AI decoding hinted at messages like, energy flows cross, the cycle returns. Was this a warning? A countdown? Social media exploded. TikTokers dubbed it a Stargate or alien Wi-Fi router. Memes mocked its cryptic warnings, while scientists scrambled for answers. Labs found temperature swings of 9 degrees Celsius with no external cause, and radio signals suggesting it's still active. Radiologist Jose Luis Velasquez, who is leading this project, commented, "This isn't just a melted satellite. It appears to have been engineered, but by whom? Could it be a probe from an advanced civilization? A black project testing anti-gravity tech? Or a viral stunt? With no government transparency and carbon dating pending, the truth remains hidden. One thing's clear, the Buga sphere challenges everything we know. As debates rage, it sits under lock and key, a silent enigma whispering, are we alone? What do you think it is? Comment below. Subscribe if you enjoy having your mind blown.
You've definitely heard about this. It's everywhere. Now, of course, I'm talking about the Buga sphere.
Then we took it to the University of Mexico, and they found the most important thing is that there are many holes. All these holes have fiber optics, all kinds of sizes. Some of them as thin like a hair, some of them thicker, and we now know they are used to see everything around us. This is a big sensor. They can see everything. They can see through ultraviolet, probably infrared. They can see inside you. They can see your cells. They can see everything. And besides that, they have all these copper dots. We think that this is the antenna, and they are able to broadcast from the fiber optics to the antenna and from there to somewhere else. There is also these moons here. The inside of these moons is a different kind of aluminum than here. It's a different alloy. We don't know why. Also, we found that this looks like a chip. They couldn't find what it's made of. Probably it's an alloy that is unknown.
So again, these are news reports that a lot of people are not taking into consideration, they're not being aware of whatsoever, and yet we have alien technology being shown to us. And actually, when I saw the Buga ball and I saw that little chip reading, it kind of reminded me of a movie. If I find the movie, I'll show it to you guys, but it is artificial intelligence. It is basically a living ball. It is alien technology that is showing itself on our landscape. And yes, the Buga ball has been confiscated by the government in the past. It's been confiscated by intelligence agencies, just mainly the US or the corrupt deep state. Okay? All right. To transition into the main meat, the main piece of this whole entire podcast, this whole entire video is I want to talk about alien life. And the reason why I want to talk about alien life is there is a big sign, a huge sign that they are going to be coming to our planet because they have already been here, and there's been a lot of TikToks, there's been a lot of videos that show that they have already been here, that they've already been in our skies. And guys, this past year, just these past few months, the US government had a hearing. They had like a 2 or 3 hour hearing basically talking about UFOs, and nobody is going to watch a 2 or 3 hour video, but I'll just tell you guys now that they did confirm, they did disclose that alien life is here. Alien life has always been here, and the governments, the deep state, have been in cahoots with them for a very long time. And so the big sign that is coming to our atmosphere, that is coming to Earth, is what they call 3-eye atlas. Okay, 3-eye atlas. And just to give you guys a couple of facts about 3-eye atlas, it is causing disruptions. It causes disruptions. It's causing electromagnetic disruptions, or what it will seemingly do when it enters the Earth's atmosphere. It is super plasmified, and it will be in contact with the sun. And they are saying that it is half the size of the sun. It is half the size of the sun. And it has a tail. It has a plasma tail.
1st, 2025, 3I/Atlas is the third confirmed interstellar object observed passing through our solar system. But unlike its predecessors, its path, size, and motion are raising serious concerns. A recent study by Hibbard, Crowell, and Loeb titled, "Is the Interstellar Object 3I/Atlas Alien Technology?" presents evidence suggesting this object may not be natural. Its orbit is retrograde and tilted just 5 degrees off the ecliptic, a configuration highly unlikely by chance. Even more unexpected is its trajectory, bringing it close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. The chance of these alignments occurring randomly is estimated at less than 0.005%. On October 29th, it will reach perihelion behind the sun, hidden from Earth. That moment provides ideal cover for a high-speed braking maneuver to bind it to the sun. There is no sign of cometary outgassing, yet the object is accelerating, a motion consistent with solar sail propulsion. If it changes course again, It may approach Earth between November 21st and December 5th. It is being monitored closely.
And it looks like a cigar. It legitimately looks like a cigar. It looks like that. And also, I was seeing in the news today that it is actually, when they're taking pictures of it, it is actually a glowing object. Okay? There is a lot of speculation. Okay, is this a comet? Is this a comet shaped like a cigar? Or is this a visitor? Is this an alien visitor? And according to some experts, according to Stephen Burns, who I watch, is that he thinks it's a comet. It's a comet, and it is going to help when it enters our atmosphere. It is going to help us raise our consciousness when it does enter our atmosphere. I agree with that. I agree that whatever comet, whatever meteor that enters our atmosphere, it is highly plasmified and it will shift our consciousness. But hearing the shape of Three Eye Atlas, it is a cigar-shaped spaceship. Okay? Honestly, I almost have no doubts that it is a spaceship. You are up to your own speculation and your own arguments, but I also want to go back to the Vedic text, and in the Vedic text, this is what it mentions, that there were cylinder-shaped vimanas. Vimanas are the flying ships of ancient past. The cylinder-shaped vimanas were a type of ancient Indian flying machine described in Sanskrit texts and epics that were depicted with different forms, including long cylinders or cigar-shaped airships, along with other shapes like saucer-shaped vessels. These mythological flying palaces were said to be capable of incredible speeds and maneuverability, and while the existence of the actual vehicles is dismissed by historians, the term Vimana later has come to refer to aerodynamic shaped roof structure of Hindu. Just looking at the text, looking at the mythology, that is always going to be dismissed by modern historians because the average person is not going to read the reconstructed history. They're not going to read the myths because they're just marked as false. It's just marked as, oh, ancient people weren't smart at all. Ancient people were not advanced. Yet, they can't even recreate the pyramid. They can't even recreate the UFOs or the Vimanas that are detailed in the Sanskrit text that tells you how to build the ships. And these ships were the size of cities. They're literally the size of cities. They're so tall. They were literally buildings. And these sausage or these cigar-shaped ships are also mentioned in the Sumerian texts. And who are the ones that drive the sausage or the cigar-shaped ships? It is the people from Nibiru. It is the Anunnaki. Okay? So, all of this being said, they're basically throwing up a bunch of information in our face. They're quietly trying to disclose things, but people are not noticing what is happening. People are not noticing that there is a flip happening in our consciousness, okay? And the average person is not going to believe that aliens are coming. They're not going to believe that aliens have been here. They're not going to believe that, President Eisenhower, past presidents have always been in contact with aliens.
The Greater Treaty. I don't know if you're familiar with the Greater Treaty and, Eisenhower, where the Greys were the aggressive aliens and, they had negative motives, all this other stuff. And an article's written, Rob, if you can pull this up by WAPO. I think this was written in February 20th, 1954. It says Ike and the Alien Ambassadors. That's the name of the article. There you go. So February 20, 1954. Story comes out that Eisenhower, while he's on vacation, steps out. He says, no, I've got to get away from this vacation here to have a meeting with the Greys, because apparently they wanted us to stop. There you go. The 50 years, that was written 50 years ago tomorrow, on February 20, President Eisenhower interrupted his vacation in Palm Springs to make a secret trip to a nearby Air Force base to meet 2 extraterrestrial aliens, or maybe not. Maybe Ike was just going to the dentist. Yeah. There's some dispute about this. Anyways, and they said, hey, we want you to stop pursuing with the nuclear weapons. Give it to us. In return, we'll give you some advanced technology. Yeah. How much of this do you think is a myth? But this is WAPO writing about this. Right. How much do you think there's credibility behind it?
The only credibility I can come up with is what I heard from his own bloodline. And that would be his great-granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, who I've been in many lectures and meetings with and done conferences with and been on panel discussions with. And she says that this information is 100% accurate, and that she was told not to come out with this information, but she did, and to speak publicly about it, which she did, and they ostracized her from the family, even taking away her inheritance money. And I believe that because she was financially struggling severely at that time. And so I don't know how she's doing now. I haven't seen her in a couple of years. I have seen her online, but not in person in a couple of years. But I believe her wholeheartedly. And she had some other incredible stories to tell about the family as well that were pretty out there.
What were they?
Well, she said that they were, and I can say this because you know what? She said this on
Public.
Coast to Coast AM, so I can say it publicly. She said that they sent a handler to her years ago to talk about going to a breakaway civilization they had been creating on Mars. And she thought the guy was a love interest and really falling in love. And she found out through some method or whatever that he was actually just a handler. I tried to convince her to go with him to Mars. She said, no, I'm not going to go. They tried. They kind of fought over her trying to be there. And she, according to her, there were only specific bloodlines or specific people with particular interests and knowledge and so forth allowed to do this breakaway civilization. And she says that she decided not to go. But she said that they are creating a breakaway civilization on Mars. Now, the reason why I believe that is because, you know, a program that I created years ago called the United Family of Anomaly Hunters. We have been downloading images from NASA, the European Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, China, Russia, all the publicly available images from all the space probe data and rovers. And we have been finding a lot of anomalies, tons and tons of anomalies. And in these anomalies, these are out of place objects, things that shouldn't be where they are. And one of the most anomalies appear on Mars, to be honest with you.
Prediction, okay? My prediction based on connecting all of the dots. After seeing Trump take over DC with the National Guard, okay? The National Guard is activated only during times when shit is going down, and they're starting with DC because that is the root of all evil. That is the root of this whole corrupt and implanted system, okay? So there's many ways to reset the system. Is number one, you can start disclosing to the people what Trump said, is start disclosing all of the truths to humanity, all of the things that were not shown on the media, but they quietly disclosed on movies. They showed to us in code on the news. And there are a lot of experts as well that are saying that there could be a big flash. There could be a big blackout with the EMP. Okay, electrical magnetic pulse. And because we are in a solar cycle, we're in a new solar cycle. We left the lunar cycle. It is not beyond comprehension. It is not beyond logic that the whole Earth does black out once again, okay? It is not illogical that the EMP could take over. That is what I'm arguing is most likely going to happen very soon, most likely in the very next few months, okay? In September, October, November, December, that we are going to receive alien contact, and most likely we are going to have a blackout, and the National Guard will be taking over. The National Guard will be on the grounds doing what they do when a new system comes online. I wanted to talk about the Anunnaki. I want to talk about aliens, especially if you're a person that was never interested in aliens, because to be honest with you, I was not that interested. But after seeing so many videos, like, guys, I'm not even on TikTok. I'm literally not on TikTok. I'm not on any of these social platforms. I'm just on YouTube. And I can notice that there is a lot more alien contact on Earth. There's a lot of them already roaming on Earth as they have been. So, going back to the biblical text, Enoch was fetched and taken away by a UFO. Okay, one of the books from the Bible that was taken out, the Book of Enoch, it literally says that he was taken by a UFO and he was shown this realm. He was shown the realm that Earth was in. Okay? And in the Old Testament, in the very Old Testament in Genesis, okay, in the very beginning of Genesis, it refers to the Elohim, okay? And it has already been said by Paul Wallace, it has already been debunked, demystified, that the Elohim is a plural word. Elohim is a plural word for the gods. So that means from the very inception of this new Homo sapiens species, we were in contact with the so-called gods. We were in contact with the Elohim or the Anunnaki that came. I wanted to give credibility. I wanted to give evidence. So I'm going to be reading a few passages from Dr. Malachi Z. York's publication, and it starts off with the question you're talking about. Answer: don't be confused by the title Anunnaki. Anunnaki simply means those sent from Anu to Ki, to Earth. They are what the Muslims are called Malachites. The Bible calls them Angelos. The Sumerians call them Anunnaki. The Yoruba calls them Ginwins, Shuskali, and Umawe. The American churches simply call them angels. Many other Native American tribes call them thunderbirds. In Kemet, they are called Neteru. When you look at the Bible, when you look at the Quran, when it talks about Yahweh, when it talks about God, usually God in the Old Testament, for some reason, he has a lot of physical attributes. God is sitting at the throne. Moses is talking to God. And you must sit with the angels. You must sit with the Elohim and give them food when they're on earth, because they are not true gods. They have a physical body. They have a physical body that they can sit their ass down and eat a meal with people. Okay? And as mentioned, Nibiru is the planet of the crossing. It is the planet that crosses the skies. It is also called Rilo 7. It is also called Wormwood. It is a planetoid, okay? And we have seen this planetoid in Star Wars. That can be moved around. They can move this planet around, and they can visit other planets, and they can take over other planets if they choose to, but that's not their real intent of the real Anunnaki. But this is what Nibiru is. And so, Dr. Malachi Z. continues to say, it's no coincidence that soon after I spoke about a planet ship called Nibiru, there were findings all over the media of how satellites are picking up radar signs from something that is the size of Jupiter coming into the Earth's atmosphere. This information was broadcasted on the Sci-Fi Channel during 1995 AD and is referred to as Rilo 7 by some scientists. They have been forewarning us. This planet is coming back to Earth once again. And we know that Nibiru is coming back to Earth because our atmosphere is going to change. It's going to look red. And they have been here once before. And as Dr. Malachi Z. York has said, it is a planet ship. It is said by scientists, it is noticed by scientists back in 1995, before I was born, that it is coming towards Earth. Go back a little bit, and we need to go back when the Anunnaki first came here, or the Nibirians first came here. In Nibiru, their atmosphere was dying. Their planet was slowly dying. And in order to repair their atmosphere, they had to find a resource. They had to find some sort of resource. They had to find some sort of solution. So what did they do? Well, they found gold, monatomic gold on Earth. Okay? And this gold was able to repair their atmosphere. So what did they do? They sent their Anunnaki, they sent their Igigi, or the lesser gods, as it's often stated. They sent their lesser gods to go there and to mine for the gold. Okay? And they're mining for the gold, and they're using the Igigi, the lesser gods, as workers. But the Igigi retaliated, and they said, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. So what did they start doing? Okay, Billy Carson talks about this all the time, guys. What did they start doing? They started to see that there was humans. Oh, there's actually humans on this Earth planet. And they started using people as worker slaves, okay? And the intention to come to Earth was not always bad. The intention to come to Earth was not to take over the Earth and to turn the humans into slaves. But there was a demigod called Enlil, who wanted to treat the humans, the existing humans, as slaves. And that is when his reign began. And he's often referred to as Yahweh in the Bible, or his son is referred to as Yahweh in the Bible. So Enlil, the devil, and his angels, and the dark faction of the Anunnaki, they came down to Earth. Okay, and they were fighting. They were literally fighting. They were fighting Enki, and they were fighting Anana, and they were fighting Thoth for control over the Earth. And I want to quickly talk about Adam and Eve, because it mentions who Adam and Eve were, and how they looked like, and how their genetics were modified, and how this whole experiment by Enlil, this whole experiment of the Garden of Eden started, and how he wanted to basically take us out of our God capacity, limit our genetics, because they have that technology, they have that knowledge of limiting the genetics and cutting off our telomeres. Adam, and Titi, Eve, was half reptile and half mammal. They developed sweat glands as the mammalian and lost their shiny, luminous reptilian skin, their scaly hide, and most of their saurian nature to be herbivores, not carnivores. They also developed green body, fur, and hair. They acquired much mammalian characteristics such as soft, wear, flexible, thin skin, and the need to sweat and smell. They were seen as blemished, unpure, unclean, defiled creatures who sweat putrid drops. Okay, so again, Adam and Eve was the story of Enlil's experimentation on the humans, and Enki as the snake, as the dragon, as the symbol of the dragon, okay, not a literal snake, not a literal dragon, but he comes in and he gives the wisdom to Adam, he gives the wisdom to Eve so they could arise in their consciousness. They could know that they were not animals and to know that their DNA was tampered with. Okay? Another mention in the Bible about alien contact. Again, this is from Malachi Z. York. I'm using the same book, the same resource because I want you guys to read it. I want whoever is watching to read it because it will enlighten you. And for me, I am not going to do that research. I'm not going to pop open the Bible. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that intense research with the Bible right now. Maybe in the future when everything is just like, when everything is freaking over. But Israelites, Moses was allowed to see Yahweh's glory, okay? Yahweh, again, is Enlil, who wanted to take over Earth, who wanted to subjugate the humans. Yahweh flies through the heavens in a mother plane that deifies imagination, okay? This is mentioned in Exodus 33:18 through 22, and Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind in 2 Kings 2:11-12. They say the chariot of fire was an UFO, and Ezekiel gives a perfect description of a round flying machine, wheel in the middle of a wheel. And again, it literally mentions in the biblical text that there was contact with UFOs. There are contacts with these Anunnaki. There is contact with these Nibirians. And a whirlwind, a mother plane, whatever words that they decided to switch around or they decided to say were symbolic, they decided to say were of a higher god, is not true. This is all technology from the demigods. This is all technology that, again, is mentioned in the Bible, it's mentioned in the Quran, it's mentioned in the Vedic text, in the Sanskrit text, and it is documented. But a lot of us want to turn a blind eye to it because we don't want to believe that Ezekiel, Moses, and Enoch were all shown, were all taken away, they were all in front of these UFOs. Okay, and I wanted to mention how Enki was the one that was trying to give us, the humans, a language. He was trying to show us how to map the stars. He was trying to show us how to chart the movements of the heavens. He was trying to give us back our godly gifts. He was trying to elevate the consciousness of the people. And again, in the Bible, it mentions told to go back and redo his offering so it would be accepted. Enki saw that Cain's countenance was falling, that his face was falling, and that he was shapeshifting to the appearance like a Nephilim. The Hebrew in the quotes read the pane or pine for face and nephil, which is also used for the fallen angels. Okay, one thing that I want to mention is the Crystal City. The Crystal City is mentioned in the Bible, but all of your biblical historians, all of your theologians are not going to tell you exactly what the Crystal City is. They're just going to tell you that it is the new Jerusalem after Jesus comes back, after some dude with some long hair, some white looking dude, evil looking dude comes back. And that is not what the Crystal City is. So I'm going to read you what exactly Malachi Z. York says it is. The Christians read the New Testament faithfully. They base their very future on the book of Revelation in hopes that a ship or some sort of craft, which they are sure about, called the Holy City and the New Jerusalem, is coming back from heaven. John said he saw the Holy City coming down from Theos and out of Oranos, the Orient skies, and the voice even announced that this tabernacle is with anthropos, men, from which the word anthropology comes. This is clear that Christians believe that their God, the Father of Jesus, is coming back in some kind of city called the Holy City. The word holy there is hagios, meaning so. The statement is a flying city, a sacred flying city, and God is in it. These are called motherships or space stations that can be found in any Star Trek. I mentioned to you that these huge spacecrafts, these huge cities that are coming down, that are going to be shown to us very soon, these are mentioned in ancient texts. These are documented in the Sanskrit text. They literally show you how to build one. They literally show us that this huge city is going to come back, and it already exists. This technology already exists. And they're just going to keep saying, "Oh, the holy city is a place where only the good people go, only the people that believed in Jesus is going to be able to go to." And no, it is not a place that we're going to go to. It is a spacecraft. It is a mothership that we are most likely, I 99.9% believe and know in my heart, that is going to be shown to us. It's going to be in our atmosphere very soon. So, I want to let you guys know, since Enlil has been on his reign and he caused all of this destruction to humanity, and he has put a veil on humanity, and he's had all of these battles that are documented in the Sumerian text. And what is Enlil doing on Earth? Because he was cast down from the heavens. He was sent away from Nibiru, and he has just been continuing his reign on Earth. So what have they been doing? Well, there is a bloodline, and this is Enlil's bloodline. It is called the Cannanite bloodline, and a lot of people don't know this, but they hide behind white families, okay? The 13 families who you think rule the world, and I'm not going to read you all the names, but I'm sure you guys can see a lot of names that are familiar. The Rockefeller bloodline, the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilt, and the 13 families who actually ruled the world. And I'm not going to read their names, but you can clearly see it. So, the 13 families who you think ruled the world are often white families. There are white bloodlines that are being handled, that are being put as a front. And the 13 families who actually ruled the world are the Canaanite bloodlines and the ones that are linked to Enlil who have melanated skin. Okay? I'm not saying that they're African. I'm not saying that they're from the US. They are an alien species with melanated skin. And what have they been doing in our society? Well, they have been subjugating us, taking us out of our God capacity, and instituting an artificial society. So that's why we have laws, that's why we have levies, that's why we have contracts. And instead of evolving, instead of going back to nature, instead of going back to our technology, which is our bodies, instead of using our telepathic and our abilities as the gods that we are, they instituted and they basically destroyed everything. They mismatched, and they put a lot of falsehood in the following: literacy, physics, laws, math, cosmology, biology, and the list goes on. And they instituted religion, racism, nationalism, sexism, slavery, taxes, and gold lust. And the following pyramid that I want to show you guys basically reveals the pyramids, and you guys can all see this on the dollar. On the back of the dollar, they put this Masonic symbol everywhere because they know that regular people are not going to pay attention to it. They're not gonna realize that there is a demonic structure in place, and it is not a really good picture, but it basically says the governments, the religion, and the media and the schools are at the very bottom, or at the very bottom is the population of us, okay? The people that they are willing to control. And what is above that is religion, the governments, the media, and the schools. Above that is the corporations that they own. The next thing up is the central banks, the tax revenue, the interest revenue, and the think tanks, and the committees of 300, okay? A small group of people that decide, oh, this is how we're going to institute, this is what we're going to implement next in humanity. This is what we're going to start feeding the schools. This is what we're going to start feeding the media to basically to keep the people in sleep, to keep us away from our God capacity, to keep us away from knowing who we truly are. And it goes up to the Crown Council of 13 and the World Monarch. Again, these 13 families are at the top, and they're doing whatever they want because, again, they have a front. They have a facade of 13 families that seemingly are controlling the world, but they are just being handled by the true bloodline of the Cannanites. Okay? Alright, guys. So, the next information that I want to give you guys is really disturbing. So, if you want to skip this part of the video, please just skip to the next part of the video. But I wanted to give you guys evidence of where these reptilians have been, where these Cannanites have been, where these aliens, where these intruders who have been on Earth, where have they been? And they have been living in the underground. And a lot of us don't know that there is an underground. A lot of us don't know that there is an inner Earth. There is an inner Earth. And there is Google images of Agartha. There is Google images of the map of Agartha of Inner Earth, but it is not exactly accurate. But they do put it in front of our faces because they just want to say, hey, we put this in front of your face. You should have known that there was an inner Earth. You should have known that there was underground cities. And the thing about the underground, where these reptilians are, where the Cannanites basically made a pact with the reptilians, where Enlil made a pact with the reptilians, and they were basically living in underground tunnel systems. And the reason why they're living underneath and why they are on Earth, why these intruders are on Earth in the first place, is they are taking the children. They are taking the women, okay? They know that there are royal bloodlines on Earth. They know that the children themselves are angels on Earth, and giving them as sacrifice to the reptilians, giving the women to sacrifice as the reptilians is what causes us to be in this sleep spell. All of the bloodshed on Earth affects us. All of the blood that has been shed, it is it is only for them. It is only for them to keep being the monarch. It is for them to keep being the evil on top of the hill. And I want to show you guys some underground tunnel systems, some photos that are in Switzerland and other places. It's also been mentioned by Ali Carter. I highly recommend you guys go check out her Instagram. I don't know if she has TikTok, but check out her Instagram. It's also on YouTube, where she talks about her being a sex slave. And in the underneath tunnel systems, as she was a child sex slave, she mentions what it looks like in the underground, and she also mentions what people were doing there, the celebrities, and the weird ritualistic stuff that was happening. I'm not going to play those videos on this channel. You can go and watch them if you think that you're ready for it, but I will show you the photos of all of the hidden cities that are now open to the public, and this is also information that was given by Rod Hayes, so if you want to go check him out where he talks about this more in length, but the photos are there and the tunnel systems are there.
It had everything from hospitals and command centers to bakeries and even a radio station. It was a city within a mountain, ready to sustain life if the outside world crumbled. Then there's Fort Heldsburg, a fortress carved into a mountainside. This place was armed to the teeth, with artillery guns capable of firing deep into enemy territory. It was a silent guardian, watching over the Swiss borders, ready to unleash its firepower if needed. These are just two examples of the many incredible bunkers hidden throughout Switzerland.
Brewer discovered this cave in Utah. It held all these ancient copper tablets that had weird inscriptions on them. But people just started like, okay, John Brewer, tell us where this is. He's like, I won't, because a couple of years before that was the Lovelock Cave incident, right? And that's where the Smithsonian came in. Yeah. All of a sudden, the bones disappeared. In fact, he told this man, one day I was walking to the cave, and all of a sudden there's three very tall men. They said, we want to show you our city. And so they brought John Brewer to this underground city. And John Brewer said it was the most technologically advanced civilization that he's ever seen. They were able to speak telepathically as well. They brought him out of the city, then they just disappeared. And then the entrance to their city disappeared too. It just like went invisible. So people were like, you're full of crap. Yeah. But he said when he found these copper plates, they were wrapped in like a bark material. He brought the bark to BYU, radiocarbon dated this bark. He said with a radiocarbon age of 5 BC to 390 BC, the bark is indeed ancient.
All right, the last thing that I wanted to mention was, yes, there are the Cannanite bloodline, there is the aliens, there is the reptilians that have been in cahoots, that have been together, they have been merging a pact, they have been keeping the humans enslaved, okay, enslaved in the mind. And if you think that you live in America and that everything is perfectly fine in your life, you have to realize that you are in a cage. You are in a golden cage. And when you step out of your golden cage, you can scratch the cage and realize that they just spray painted it gold. It's not your true full capacity as a sovereign being to live. We're not supposed to be living in the system where we go to a job that we don't want to work. We shouldn't have corporations that poison us. We shouldn't have these religions that are not telling us the truth. Okay, the preachers themselves, you're a preacher when you go to church, knows the truth, and he or she is not telling you that this is not the way the Bible should be interpreted. They're not telling you the true God is the God inside of you, that you realize and you start showing the world, you start showing the universe with your light, okay? And the last videos that I want to show you is that because we're in a solar cycle, because there are reptilians, because there are skin masks that they clearly showed you in some CIA file or in that the CIA agents are using and that Washington has always been using is that they can shapeshift. And because the veil is being lifted, because the solar energies are going to reveal absolutely everything, they are shapeshifters. And this is not an ability that is not documented in the texts, in the ancient texts.
People that are, killed as missiles go into areas that they shouldn't be. It's a very terrible thing, and I think we've come a long way, and it could be something will happen, but hopefully it will. As you know, President
Wir wissen, der Gotthardtunnel ist sozusagen das Herz, hat jemand geschrieben, und die Aorta fehlt noch und deshalb...
Now hold on. You ain't the first son of a bitch to wake up out of their dream.
Je radote, je sais, mais ils sont parmi nous. Regardez bien.
I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again for... Back, I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again for...
The way that they shapeshift is based on a liquid crystal technology, okay? They're able to bend photons to hide their physical structure. And it also shows, I think it also shows in...
Dallas? Corbin Dallas?
Yeah, that's me.
Just a minute, please. It will take just one more minute. We'll be right back.
That when these beings, when these reptilians, when whatever species is on the earth, when they are here, when they get angry, they kind of glitch. When they do get angry, they glitch and they shapeshift. And they shapeshift from being a human back into their demonic form, or their demon-faced form, or their reptilian form. And it clearly shows that in the movies. And we need to take into consideration that they are feeding in the movies the truth. They are feeding us the truth because we live in a free will universe, and you cannot lie. You cannot have a blatant lie. You have to feed the people the truth in some sort of way. So what they do is they do it in the form of movies. They do it in the form of coded messages that regular people are not going to be able to understand, because most of us are not Freemasons. Most of us are not code crackers. We're not going to be able to understand the messages that they're putting out. But they're slowly, over the decades, over the years, as movies came out, they're slowly telling us, hey, this is what's going on behind the scenes. You know, the Luciferian puppet makers are doing their work, and you should know about this because you are a God sovereign being. But since you don't know you're a God sovereign being, we're just gonna control you. We're just gonna control your systems. We're just gonna control everything. We're gonna put laws, levies. We're going to put corporations and religions that take you out of your sovereign capacity, because you don't know who you are. You don't know that you are an eternal being. You don't know that this is just a hologram. This is just a 3D matrix. And you're just giving away your power. You're just giving away all of your energy to these beings, and they're just continuing to eat your babies. They're continuing to eat people, and they're continuing to take the women, because they know the women are the ones that carry the mitochondria. They are the goddesses of Earth. And yeah, guys, I don't want to make this video too long, but I think I hit the target. I think I made my point. So we're gonna end it there, and I hope this video was enlightening for you. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, what kind of things you guys have been noticing. I just did a crash course. I made sure that there was evidence in this video, and if you guys feel like, oh, I'm gonna go check that out, I'm gonna go research that, or I'm gonna go watch a few TikToks about that, that is perfectly fine. Please do that. And share this video if you think that somebody will benefit from this, or if you think if you think this will be very helpful. Alright guys, I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching.